They call themselves anonymous. They are hackers on steroids, treating the web like a real-life video game, sacking websites, invading MySpace accounts, disrupting innocent people's lives. And if you fight back, watch out.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to a very hacker-friendly episode of the Weekend Superheroes Podcast. Today is Monday, November 26, 2017. This is episode 25, everybody.
25th anniversary.
Wow. We got to celebrate this shit.
Right. I didn't even bring you anything silver.
I'm Sean, and sitting with me tonight is Pat, Steve, and Darius. How is everyone tonight? How you guys doing?
Hello.
Delightful.
Steve, who did we talk to last time?
A real-life, modern-day witch, Akasha Wolf.
Akasha Wolf.
And it was on fucking Devil's Night.
Yeah, how cool was
How,
that?
how much better does that get?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Pretty awesome. Guys,
Delightful.
And if you haven't seen her, you can go check her out on YouTube. I think she has 2 channels now, which is insane.
She doesn't have 4 channels?
Oh, I see what you did there. Wait, save it for the podcast.
Wait.
We are the podcast.
Oh, wait.
No,
Oh, we're
it's
recording right now.
It's still recording. Yeah, it is.
So today we're talking about a relatively new concept called hacktivism. There's no better group in the industry more famous or infamous than Anonymous. But who are they? What are they? And what do they want? First, let's do it with the terminology, right? For the not so tech savvy people, the ones that normal people that have normal sex with normal people.
Yeah, the people who just live
You said
a normal
normal a
life.
lot.
Yeah. Basically, the people who aren't fucking nerds.
Yeah. So
like
here's
us.
what we're gonna do. We're gonna start with let's start with Steve. Steve, I want you to tell me what trolling is.
Basically, you're a dick. Like, you are just an asshole for the purpose of being an asshole. There's no other reason. You might not agree with the opinion that you're putting out there. You're just doing it to piss people off.
What's the goal of trolling?
To piss people off.
To piss whoever you're.
Yeah,
Okay.
to piss people off and get a reaction.
Fair
That's
enough.
all it is.
Darius, tell me what a meme, M-E-M-E, what is a meme?
A meme is something that it's usually a picture or a video, and it has something that you can relate to that's something funny that you like to share with people, tag them in, and it's usually like it could either be an asshole comment or it could be like something making fun of someone.
So an idea that you
Or
want to go
it's-
viral. You
Yeah,
obviously
there's
want
like
this thing
there's
to-
like an ironic caption over the
Yeah, and people take it and put different captions on it.
Right. So I guess the goal is to make sure that it stays viral, right? Just want
Yeah.
like 2 people to
Just keep
pass
sharing
it
it
on.
out.
Okay, so we know what trolling, we know what meme is. So we got to go to the last one. You're going to hear this one a lot through this podcast. So I'm going to talk to Pat. Pat, tell me what a DDoS or DDoS attack is.
So it stands for Distributed Denial of Service, and it's basically taking a large number of computers, either controlled by people or a botnet, which is where they take over your computer, and it's sending more traffic to a website than it can handle and basically taking it offline.
Very
like
cool.
what they've done with the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox every Christmas for the past like 4 years.
Right.
Yep.
Dicks.
For the laws.
Cannot play your game
Fucking
online.
So,
Dicks.
so would you say that's trolling, Steve?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So to dumb it down even further, imagine the website you want to go to is like a room, and it obviously has a door. And every once in a while, someone goes through that door. Now you've hired 10,000 people to go through that door as well. You're not going to have enough of the ones that actually want to get through that door. They're going to fall to the wayside, and it's going to fall.
Yeah, if you don't have enough door width.
Okay, so according to Wikipedia, Anonymous is a loosely associated international network of activists and hacktivists. They are associated with a group, but it's described as an internet gathering with a very loose and decentralized command structure that operates on ideas rather than directives. But I think they're more than that. I became obsessed with this group a really, really long time ago when they waged war on ISIS. But I had no idea what these guys were responsible for well before then. I think we just have to call them a group because we don't have another name for it. They're like an idea, like a network of former online jagoffs who eventually stumbled upon how powerful they could become. But to better understand these guys, let's start from the beginning. So Anonymous originated in 2003 with a web platform called 4chan. Has anyone ever been on this thing?
I have, yeah.
I have not.
I have.
Recently? Or
No, it's been a few years
So you said you've been on it.
Yeah,
Pat?
but probably not since,
since
like
the fappening.
2005.
Okay, so 4chan, what I can describe it as is online image board. It's like you can separate in different boards with different types of content, like Pinterest without rules.
Yeah, kind of.
Basically.
So it was launched on October 1st, 2003 by a guy named Christopher Poole, Poole, who created it originally for just the love of anime. And
Nerd.
turns out the internet took over.
Oh yeah,
Because
that's how it always happens.
That's what the internet does. So it looks like the worst website in the world. Literally the worst.
It seriously looks like a Hello World website.
Yeah,
From a web
it's
developer
the
point of
most
view.
basic thing you could possibly.
It's like
do.
someone's first try at a website ever.
It's more basic than Craigslist, which we covered in like episode 2 or 3.
Right. And so even the categories are horrible because he just named them as letters. You literally have to mouse over them to see what they are. So it's a /A through /Z, and then he ran out of those and started going /news and other things like that. But you have to admit that 4chan is responsible for some of the greatest memes, trolls, and digital pranks
Absolutely,
that are still alive today.
for sure.
Still alive.
And also some of the most horrific things you'll ever see on the internet.
What? Can you give us an example of those puppies?
It's kind of a meme, but have you guys heard of Good Night or Sleep Well, Sweet Prince?
What's that?
So if I remember correctly, it's a kid who killed himself because he didn't get an iPod, and they literally went and left an iPod on his grave to have a picture and
oh
said
my
"Sleep Well,
God.
Sweet Prince."
I have heard of this 1,000 times. I didn't know that's what well, it couldn't have originated. Sleep Well, Sweet Prince. Had to
I'm sure it's from something
Oh,
else, but
Jesus,
like
please, that God.
that's yeah, it's something along those lines. It's some of the most horrific things you'll see on the internet.
Jesus. So it's also, in case you don't want to make it so horrible, it's also lolcats, right? All those-
Lolcats, yeah.
Which is why the cats have taken over the internet, and also being Rickrolled. I think you
Rickrolled,
may have heard
that's
about
old
that.
Oh yeah.
The Foo
Darius-
Fighters just did that not too long ago.
Darius,
Yeah, they did.
Would you be able to sing us a few bars?
Oh, by Rick Astley.
You know what's funny? Newfound Glory right now is on their 20th anniversary tour, and before every show, they show this video of them like from when they first started to the tours that are recently going on now. And as soon as that video ends, it's so they rickroll the crowd before every show.
But you can't talk about 4chan without talking or mentioning /B.
Random.
Yeah. So if you mouse over, it does say random. This is apparently like the worst of the worst. It started simple until the goal was eventually to post the most disgusting things you could ever imagine, something you can't unsee. So I'd never been on it, but I went for it. For the first time
I
ever.
hope you did it in incognito mode.
No, I didn't. This laptop is going to die anyway, so I put /B, and the very first thing I saw was a man's wet, hairy asshole. That was
Goatee.
numero uno.
Was it Goatee?
Uh-oh. Maybe I don't know about it.
Goatee was the thing where the guy pulling his asshole apart?
No, it wasn't any hands. It was just like a wet, hairy asshole and a scrotum hanging down beneath it.
It's better than Meat Swing, though.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's my background
sit
now.
there and
Like,
watch it.
I really enjoy it. Oh, jeez. Anyway,
Yeah, it didn't
so,
take you to Lemon Party, so that's cool.
so with 4chan, you could use a screen name and post as that screen name, but if you didn't have a name or just didn't want to, you could post under...
Anonymous.
There we go. So it's anonymous. That's sort of where that sort of whole name came from. I thought that was pretty cool. So the internet can be a very dark and dreary place, where you can hide behind a curtain and hit caps locks and bring the pain if nobody knows who you are. It's,
An original keyboard warrior.
exactly. So in July 2006, what happened? There was a Finnish networking site called Habbo Hotel.
Yeah, so Habbo Hotel was a Finnish social networking site, and a rumor started going around on 4chan on /B that the mods of Habbo Hotel were banning users based on the color of their avatar's skin. So on July 6th, 2006, a group calling themselves the /B blockers, get it? It's clever.
Blockers.
They decided to do what they call a raid on the site and block popular hangouts. Basically, they exploited a glitch that didn't allow avatars to pass through each other when they were entering or exiting a premises. So they blocked the pool and would, quote unquote, shout. So in all caps.
Block the digital poll. The digital poll.
Yeah, and they would shout at everyone saying, "Pool's closed," at anyone who was trying to enter the pool.
Oh, Jesus. So there was a meme of like a guy with an afro.
Yeah, so the symbol of this was the avatars were all black men wearing suits with afros.
Oh, okay.
And,
So
and
that was where that meme came from.
so that's where the meme comes from. And actually, as a result of this, if you go to that social networking site and you try to create an avatar that's black with an afro and a suit, you automatically get banned.
They had torn it away. That's great. Right, so I believe this was like sort of the first time the members of 4chan found that they were powerful whenever they had the numbers to do something like that. But I got to talk about this one. This was the biggest one, and my personal favorite. This was a guy named Hal Turner. He was a white supremacist from New York.
Fuck him.
He prided himself on quote unquote smashing political correctness. He was nothing more. He was a fucking neo-Nazi.
He was a douchebag.
He was a super racist shithead. Actually, on CNN, he was selling little nooses.
Oh,
awesome.
Oh,
Right. So they asked.
Not cool.
They asked him about it. They're like, okay, so what does this represent? And he's like, it represents justice.
Wow.
Justice. So this bastard got himself a fucking radio show, right? And he made the mistake of trying to make fun of someone on 4chan.
Oh no.
Oh, you don't fuck with the 4chan.
That's it, dude. That's
Not
it.
a good idea.
That's it.
You're gonna have a bad time.
Yeah.
So Anonymous starting, of course, trolling him on the phone first. Lots of videos of YouTube of him getting trolled. One of them talked about he went in there. He's like, "Can you believe? You know what I hate is black people.
Black people, right?
Black people, right?
Hey,
But that's like the first
whoa.
thing he said.
I came to this was one of the trollers. He said, "Look, I came here. I came to West Philadelphia. I was born and raised here."
On the playground is where I
Kept
spent
him
most of my
on the
days.
phone for like 10 minutes with the Fresh Prince. of
Oh no, he didn't.
Anonymous
awesome.
troller
Shoot
had
some
him
b-ball.
on for so long that like even no one else could get through on the phone. It was
Like
beautiful.
this dude was just talking to him by reciting words to the fucking theme song of the West.
everything, and
Oh,
they just expanded out. It was perfect.
that's so good.
Go on YouTube. You can find a
I
lot of
gotta find
videos of
that.
this Hal Turner asshole getting trolled. So then Anonymous found out where he lived. They sent pizza, other construction materials to his house that he had to eventually pay for.
Oh no.
Then they took it to a new level because they found out that he had to pay for his own bandwidth.
Yeah.
Oh.
Good night.
And then they
Sweet prince.
pounded him with traffic. I mean,
That
pounded him.
is the end.
There is a clip, go on YouTube right now. You can find him saying that he got a bill and it was over $1 trillion.
$1 trillion?
Holy shit.
What the fuck did they do? Like,
I don't know if it's true or not, but he is saying it. It's his voice. And he's like, it was over $1 trillion. And eventually the bills got so high he couldn't keep the show on. He couldn't keep the show in the air. Anonymous won.
So they took it off the air.
Hal Turner 0.
Awesome.
yeah, good. Good
Loved
for
it.
them.
I loved it. And I think this was like their turning point. This is when they realized they had some kind of moral high ground.
Was there Turner point?
Oh no.
We need a wop wop ma sound.
Yeah.
And now they found a way to turn their evil into good. They had the moral high ground, and they can get more people on board. So they finally gained national and international press for one very specific protest. This was a protest against the Church of Scientology.
Fuck those people.
You
for the
guys might
record.
know these people.
Yeah,
We
fuck
talked to
those
someone.
people.
Yeah, what was her name? Steph Caldini. She was awesome.
Yeah. Why? Did you just
Why,
answer
yeah,
that
why'd you
question?
answer? Why'd you
Thanks.
ask if
Yeah.
you weren't going to let us answer?
Hey, Pat, what was her name?
Steph Caldini.
Right? She was fantastic. A Force in the Sea Org. Go check out that
Great
episode.
person.
But if you don't hate the Church of Scientology now, go listen to that episode. Then you most certainly will. So this is when they started gaining all that the press.
Their gains.
In 2008, there was a video that leaked to the internet of Tom Cruise. I don't know if you remember this one, but he was laughing and acting like a lunatic. It was Scientology. It was leaked and put on YouTube. But Scientology issued a copyright violation claim against YouTube, and the Anons hated it. They kept putting it up on different websites, and then they would take it down so quick it would make their head spin. Anonymous was pissed. Thus, the birth of Project Chinology.
Hello, leaders of Scientology. We are anonymous. Over the years, we have been watching you, your campaigns of misinformation, your suppression of dissent, your litigious nature. All of these things have caught our eye. With the leakage of your latest propaganda video into mainstream circulation, the extent of your malign influence over those who have come to trust you as leaders has been made clear to us. Anonymous has therefore decided that your organization should be destroyed. For the good of your followers, for the good of mankind, and for our own enjoyment, we shall proceed to expel you from the internet and systematically dismantle the Church of Scientology.
So that video was published on January 21st, 2008, followed by a new video called Call to Action on January 28th. This was calling for protest outside of the Church of Scientology. According to Wikipedia, on February 22nd, 150 people gathered outside the Church of Scientology, centered in Orlando, Florida. There were small protests They were held in Santa Barbara, California, and Manchester, England. And on February 10th, which was the date mentioned in the video, roughly 7,000 people protested in more than 93 cities worldwide.
And there's one here in Pittsburgh.
Against the Church of
Worldwide.
Scientology. Absolutely.
Was that Prestige,
Prestige
worldwide?
worldwide. Boats and
Wide.
hose.
Boats and hose.
So this is when we began seeing those masks you guys know so well.
Guy Fawkes.
Very good. So masks from the graphic novel, film, what was the film?
V for Vendetta.
Right. So the masks are those of a man named Guy Fawkes, and they used them. So Scientology, who you guys know, when you oppose them, they take your picture. They exploit everything of your past. And
They're the worst people
Oh,
on the
absolutely.
planet.
They try to be anonymous, but they're not nearly as good as they are.
which is why Anonymous started wearing these masks. So Scientology couldn't track, and usually they were against them.
So that's where that all came from?
Absolutely. Yeah. We got to talk about WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks was started by
Julian Assange.
That's right. So even though Anonymous isn't responsible for their creation of WikiLeaks, they are still like the site's security guards.
And they're pretty good security guards to have.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is who you want on your side. In December 2010, WikiLeaks came under the microscope and was pressured to stop publishing secret U.S. documents and cables. Corporations such as Amazon, PayPal, Bank of America, MasterCard, Visa put a halt to any and all donations to WikiLeaks. And this pissed Anonymous off. You don't piss Anonymous off. You just don't do it.
They'll get you.
In response, Anonymous launched a denial of service attack against Amazon, PayPal, MasterCard, Visa, and the Swiss bank Post Finance. Both MasterCard and Visa websites were completely shut down on December 8th. And you'd think at this point people would learn.
Yeah, like you know what they're gonna do. Don't piss them off. It's not.
They don't. And this is Anonymous's claim to fame. In February of 2011, a guy by the name of Aaron Barr, he was the chief executive of a security firm called H.B. Gary Federal.
Whoops.
He said that his firm had successfully infiltrated the Anonymous group. He said his plan was to skip sending the details to the police, but rather he would reveal his findings, which included personal information of some of the bigger players in Anonymous at a conference in San Francisco.
Yeah, how'd that work out for him?
Now, to put that in hacker terms, Anonymous is a hornet's nest. And Barr said, I'm going to stick my penis in that thing. Faster than you can say, get these hornets off my penis. Anonymous took down Barr's website, stole his emails, deleted the company's backup data, trashed his Twitter account, and remotely wiped his iPad.
Oh my god. It's like you just don't fuck with those guys. Like it's.
And if anyone from Anonymous is listening, I love you guys. Please
guys are
don't.
great.
Please don't fuck my life up.
Don't stop what you're doing. It's amazing.
Yeah, they like just don't piss them off.
So then in April 2011, they attacked the Westboro Baptist Church. You guys
This is
know.
I'm in on this.
These are the
all
God,
in on
the
this.
God hates fags. Thank God for 9/11
yeah,
people.
fuck those people. I hope they all die.
God, they are terrible nightmares. So they even took down one of their sites live on air during an interview with Shirley Phillips, who actually provoked them live on air during an interview.
Revenue.
Okay, here's what they did. People all around the nation grabbed that news release and they posted it here and there and places you can't keep track of all the places. It went viral. What? Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. My grandson's over here.
A lot happening over there, Shirley.
Well, Roro, fight the power
I'm saying
because
that.
So, I think I understand, Shirley. So you don't believe that. Let me go to Anonymous was trying to. I just want to moderate this. Anonymous, go ahead.
I was just going to say, just in the time Shirley was blabbing her religious preach, I actually did some business. And I think if you check downloads.westboro Baptist Church right now, you'll see a nice message from Anonymous.
So hold on. Downloads.westborobaptistchurch.com, is it?
Yeah, we just put up a nice release while Shirley was preaching there.
Just while we were doing this interview.
Yeah, we had enough. I mean, we responded maturely. We said, no, we don't want to war. Shirley came on the radio, started, well, her thinks I'm going to hell, so we've given her something to look at.
Oh,
And
you
can we-
think that if you try to do something to us because we tell
Something's
you
already been done. Check it.
that you
Check
have to obey, hun, don't you understand? I have to talk. That's my job. It's somebody
Really?
else's job to look at the websites. It's not my job.
So hold on. I am getting a thumbs up from my producer that there has been
Oh,
a
man.
message posted that appears to be from
man.
Anonymous.
They took down the
on
website while it was happening.
downloads.westborobaptistchurch.com. Anonymous, are you taking responsibility?
That was definitely one of my
Fucking
favorite
great.
ones.
These guys don't fuck around.
Yeah, they're just like, hey, hold on a second. Just
Absolutely.
wait. And we hacked your website.
So this was followed by a slew of online attacks, too many to even mention in this short time that we have. Even the NSA to the Vatican. The last one mentioned on Wikipedia was on something called the Freedom Hosting 2. I don't know much about it, but this was the hosting that this hosted an estimated 20% of all websites on the dark web. The anonymous hacktivist claimed over 50% of data stored on the Freedom Hosting 2 servers contained child pornography. So they
Awesome.
took it down.
Fuck yeah.
And a lot of people don't even know this, but they actually, Darius, hacked your place of work.
They did?
They did, and I will prove it to you. Click on that last. I told you to forget about it, but click on that last link I shot you in that email.
Oh, you fucking dick. I hate you so
You
much.
Rick rolling motherfucker.
I got you good, you fucker.
You know what? I don't care what the song says. Sean, I am going to give you up.
Yeah, I'm done. I'm out of here. That's my last podcast.
Look,
I'm going to get you back, motherfucker.
To love.
I'm on that soundboard.
everything we've heard so far is amazing, but the issue here is that hacking at any level is illegal. And because it's a crime, these hacktivists don't always fall under the radar. Knowing who to trust in a world of internet activists can prove to be very difficult. How can a unified digital global brain exist before it explodes? Can information get into the wrong hands? Time to get some answers. Our guest tonight is a well-known internet activist. He's known for his association with Anonymous. He's credited with aiding the organization of 2008 protests against the Church of Scientology. After awareness of his involvement of Chanology movement became public, Housh took on the role of media interpreter for newspapers, websites, radio, and television. He is the co-founder and CEO of Rebel News, and you can hear him on his own podcast, The Gregg Housh Show. Please give a big welcome to our guest tonight, Gregg Housh. Gregg, how you doing tonight?
You know, I've never heard anyone ask for a big welcome when they don't have the studio audience.
I put a big clap in the background whenever I post this.
Nice,
It's great.
nice.
Yeah, it's all done in post. It's fine.
It's all cricket.
You're going to love it.
The how I'm doing is it's been about 4 weeks, 14-hour days with no weekends, working on a new project. So
God.
I'm getting tired.
Do we get to hear about this
Well,
project at least
shit,
towards the end?
I'm tired just hearing that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
very
need a
excited.
nap.
So excited you could share your time with us tonight. So you've talked publicly about your involvement with Anonymous, and you've said in the past that words like groups and member are forbidden buzzwords. Can you tell us in your own words what Anonymous is and what you believe it actually represents?
It's a brand. It's an idea. It's not any group. It's, you know, when we were originally formulating a lot of what it kind of is known for now, the thought was nobody should be able to own this brand. Nobody should be able to own this name. And the idea should just live on its own, which means anyone can use it, which also means no one can shut it down because there is no anonymous. Like when people say, oh, well, I know anonymous. No, you don't. You know someone who sometimes acts anonymous if they feel like it.
Right.
And that's about it.
Cool. So Anonymous has done so much to deny, deter, or expose those they believe to be in the morally or ethically flawed. What collaborative event do you think first unified members of 4chan into believing that as a whole they are more powerful than just one guy?
I mean, the first good cause.
It doesn't have to be good. Just what unified, I guess you're
Yeah, what
asking.
really
right?
brought it together.
I think, honestly, Hal Turner was probably a real turning point for the early people. I mean, we wouldn't have had an IRC channel where there were 8 of us still sitting there if it hadn't been for Hal Turner. And
Cool.
And then there was the side group of the Internet Hate Machine who also came from the Hal Turner raid, and they were like 20 people in a channel. And that was sort of the early formation of it, you know, for where we all came from during Chanology, which is the first large event that happened. And Aaron Barr puts this information out in the Financial Times. The reporter was Joseph Menn, And I'd actually worked with Joseph Menn on a couple other articles before, so, I knew the guy. And I reached out to say, is this guy serious? Because in the article, Aaron Barr had said he was going to expose Anonymous's leadership, and he had infiltrated all the secret, places.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And so what we wanted to do was just, see his list. And that little group of people that, were sitting in that channel decided we're going to go get the list. And then things got really scary for me because HB Gary Federal actually, they secure web applications, or did secure web applications for, U.S. government. And it took about 5 minutes to get in through their management web application for their own company.
Wow.
That, of course, is always scary because there's no security. Like, there's just none. You could be the people who secure our government web applications, and a good hacker's in 5 minutes. It's disgusting.
Unbelievable. Okay.
And, yeah, that is scary.
Over the next hour, the document is procured. All of their backups are deleted. All of their servers are deleted. Everything that they even come close to touching or work on are rooted and deleted. All their emails are dumped on the internet.
Holy shit.
In like an hour. And so that group of people that was there started a channel named HB Gary, just Op HB Gary. And it filled up with like 800 people join this channel to follow along as stuff happens. And, so that hack happens, and it's just nuts for days and days. And Aaron Barr is sitting somewhere crying, and I'm just thinking about his tears got me a really good night's sleep. And yeah, he's a real winner there. If you ever watched We Are Legion, they did a really nice edit for me where, I'm talking about how I think he's, not so bright. And then they flip the screen right after I call him stupid to him going, I thought that was the nicest edit anyone could do. But, at the end of that, weekend, we're sitting there with a big event had just happened. And again, we kind of noticed that the same small group of people actually did the hack versus, randos just showing up and then doing things, right? And so they formed their own little side channel, and it was just really the HB Gary hackers who kind of formed that side channel and decided they were going to go off and do their own thing. That, this had been too good, and too many people who were here for just outright good were part of Op HB Gary now after they had started it. They wanted some chaos. We hadn't had enough lulls in a while. So they were going to go do something else. And that's where Lulset came from. Like, literally later, I think it was that Tuesday night, like after, Friday, then that whole weird weekend, then Monday, him obviously meeting with the FBI and having bad news for them. And then that Tuesday, they decided to form Lulsec with the idea that, half of them in that channel weren't ever Anons before. They hadn't done an actual Anon op before. They were just kind of around. And so they decided, we're not anonymous. We are this other thing.
Cool.
But in reality, before that and after that, they were all around anonymous.
Huh.
All right. The media has labeled Anonymous as hackers, but the most common attack to any website is a DDoS attack. But that's different than cracking into someone's server. Can you dumb down the difference for everyone's listening? First, I'd like to thank you for the question and the right use of the word cracking. So just that one kills me. For a distributed denial of service, anyone can be involved. Hell, computers that no one's sitting at can be involved. It does not take any real skill level to do that. It just takes time. If I wanted to build another botnet, I'd put up 2 million bots in a weekend. I mean, it's not a hard thing. And for a lot of what Anonymous was doing, there was voluntary botnets. It was, download this piece of software so we can tell your computer what to do because you're dumb enough to do that.
Yeah, and they made it easy to join a DDoS attack.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, right.
Yeah, so, with that, you're just flooding a server. You're paying when you're running a website for the amount of bandwidth you're using usually. Like how big your account is, how expensive it is to run a website is a lot of times based on how much bandwidth is available to you. So you might see it in a different way when you're looking at pricing pages and whatnot, but in reality, the more bandwidth that's available to you and the more you can withstand in terms of users, the price goes up. And so, if you've got a lower hosted kind of website and then 10,000 people show up in 1 second, your server might start showing errors. So that's kind of what a DDoS is meant to do. It's just meant to make it where your site is unreachable. Or better, if enough people take part, to make it where your web host wants you to leave and turns off your website.
Right.
But that's not a hack. That's really just an annoyance more than anything else.
Right.
But it's a protest. Whereas a hack is you're breaking in. You are using a hole or a vulnerability in their servers or just a misconfiguration that allows you access, and you're going behind what you would normally be allowed to get behind. Again, with HB Gary, we started by deleting the backups first.
Nice.
Did you just say we? Did
I was there watching it. I didn't issue any complaints,
Allegedly.
but I watched it all, and it was freaking hilarious.
Well, this one wasn't so hilarious. We have to talk about Hector Xavier Monsegur, a.k.a. Sabu. And I'd just like to say, Hector, if you're listening, thanks for shortening that. That was ridiculous. He was with Anonymous and LulzSec, later turned FBI informant. How did this affect the trust within the Anon and LulzSec community?
It absolutely ruined the trust. It was one of those things where a few of us suspected it, and we all started talking about it long before it was actually well known, and we all kept getting shut down for talking about it. I mean, the thing that kills me right now that just from literally this week, like every week there's new Hector news. And like this week, if you guys would love to just be angry at the TV, you can watch Morgan Freeman interviewing Sabu, because like that just happened.
Wow.
Like what is going on?
That's kind of random.
Yeah, that's
He's still how's he still relevant in the media?
I don't know. I really don't. I don't understand. I wish he got hit by a bus. So,
Print it.
It was really weird because I remember referring back to that channel that was right there when Op HB Gary was happening, right? That we talked about earlier. That IRC channel where we were all talking, he was one of the people in there. I had never met him before this. I did not know whether he was a good hacker or not. He's not. But I did not know. And if you read all the logs and you read what happened in his case and everything, you'll see that other people actually provided the 0 days that he used or that he had other people use, It wasn't him. He was just good at getting access to things. But in that channel, when HP Gary became a channel of its own, the news started paying attention to what was going on with this big hack. And it started appearing on all the tech news sites and everything else that HP Gary was currently in the middle of getting screwed. And deservedly so. And, Sabu comes into the side channel, this little private one where there's at that point, I think it was 9 people. And he's screaming at the top of his lungs because in one of the news articles, they showed the people who were in control of the IRC channel, like 8 people, and he was one of the ops. And he's screaming at all the other people, the actual hackers, not just the random anons. And he's screaming, if my name ever appears in another news article, I'm going to end all of you. Your families will wish you hadn't been born. If anyone ever mentions me on social media, which I will never use, and he's just going off on them. And they're all scared shitless of him for some reason. These are hackers I know that aren't scared when the CIA is looking for them. So I don't know what's going on, why they're scared of this dude. I'm sitting there like, who the fuck does this guy think he is in the channel? He hated me. I was questioning why the fuck they were all kowtowing to him. And, then suddenly, go 3 months into the future. And he, out of nowhere, one day shows up with a fucking Twitter handle where he's the loudest mouthpiece in the world. His name's everywhere. He's giving interviews. The first thing I did was go back to IRC into another side channel, which he wasn't in, and said, hey, so is that still Hector? Is that still our guy? Because it doesn't, you remember a few months ago when he threatened to kill you all? Yeah. And some website that no one reads? And everyone was like, no, it's him. He's finally just decided he needs to lead the revolution. I'm like, I don't think that's him. And after 2 hours of getting yelled at, I just said, okay, I guess it's him. But
wow.
No, it was crazy when it came out because at Jeremy Hammond's sentencing, I'm sitting there right next to his mom, and his mom's going through the fact that his older brother's also on his way to jail at that same moment for a different event, not computer related. Although that's just as right as what Jeremy did.
That's what makes the holidays so hard, though.
And. Yeah, and I went out to dinner with them later and just kind of sat with the family and everything, and just the idea that he got basically nothing, and then went and hung out in like freaking saunas and hot tubs with like reporters that, you know, were kind of our friends before they went and did that shit. Dan, fuck you. Yeah, it was crazy because you looked at the next about month, like the arc was everyone not coming back to the same IRC channels, people checking their private message logs, and then people saying, why do you have logs? What the fuck? People saying, like, what did I say to him last week? And everyone talking about conversations they had with him to make sure that they hadn't said anything they shouldn't. And, like, just everyone trying to cover their own asses. And then half the people just disappearing and not coming back. And still, half of those people have never come back. Like, they just ran. And I think it was the right move for some of them.
Yeah.
I bet. Huh.
So, not to keep the bad hits coming, but so... You were arrested for helping to run a software piracy group and actually served some time in prison. What was it like being under the FBI's thumb for so many years?
Not fun. I mean, I live in Boston, and for all the New Englanders and Boston fans, I hate Boston. I hate it here.
Come to Pittsburgh. We welcome you.
I was forced to move to New England by the FBI. I don't like it here. And now I'm stuck because I married someone. We've got kids. They can't leave, you know, all these fun things for a little while till school's over. But in a few years, I'm out. I'm gone. Nice. But no, it was really messed up because when they arrested me originally, they raided me. A snitch snitched on me, got me caught, and I'm sitting there just, you know, awaiting, thinking, oh, I'm going to go to jail and wait for trial now in jail. You know, great. And then they don't actually keep me in. They're like, you know, lawyer up, you know, here's the thing, we're gonna, you know, we took all your stuff. I get back to my house like the next day after, you know, having to spend, you know, the night with them, and all my stuff is either on the floor or gone. Like, you know, they've just destroyed everything. And I spent the next 7 years waiting my actual time to go to jail.
Wow.
And what really sucks, as they're deciding what charges they're actually going to finally bring against you, as you're going to court and they're bringing up wrong evidence and you're getting new trials because, you know, tainted juries and everything else is just going like, you know, hell for 7 years. You don't actually get to settle down because at any time they could throw you back in front of the judge like next week. So you tell your boss, like, I could disappear at any time, so don't put me on any month-long projects.
Right.
I was lucky to have a boss that would put up with that. You don't invest a lot of time into relationships. So, you know, my wife left and I just, you know, didn't try and get anyone else around because I didn't know if tomorrow I was leaving, and that, you know, didn't feel.
Wow.
It went on for
Shit.
7 years before they finally put me in front of a judge for a final plea deal.
So really, they were just like kind of fucking with you at that point.
They were trying to get me to turn, to go against hackers, to work against people for 7 freaking years. And I made an offer to them. I told them I would work for them under one circumstance. And that was if they would allow me to use my, you know, kind of well-displayed skills at getting into very private places on the internet to go after pedophiles. You sick me on the child molesters, and I will turn over one with enough evidence to prosecute them every fucking day.
Fuck yeah.
Unbelievable. That's awesome. Hey, and how many people did you snitch on during that time?
An absolute number of 0.
Not
Fuck
a
yeah.
single
My man.
dude. He kept his
And,
word
you know,
every
a
single
lot of
guy.
people still love to say that I did, but, you know, I'll tell you one simple thing. All the actual court records of every single person who was raided in 1999 and 2000 for all of the big software piracy raids, all of their actual court records are public. Go and find my name as sitting on one stand or providing one single word of evidence. You won't. It's not there. I didn't do it.
You're the man.
You can't find it because it didn't happen.
You are the
awesome.
man.
That's the shit.
But, you know, go search. Hire a lawyer, whatever you want. You won't find a single instance of it.
So anyone who knows anything about Anonymous knows that they got their start as just like a small group of internet trolls and pranksters and called their organized pranks toward one person or another a raid. What's your favorite raid and why?
My favorite raid
Could be good. Could be good or bad.
I mean, honestly, my favorite raid was the phone call raids on Hal Turner. Like, literally. Like,
Oh,
Nice.
you really
he had
hated
so
that
many
guy.
Raids against so many people that just failed because those people wouldn't respond, or they'd run and hide. They'd turn off their phone, their computer. They would just disappear. So, like, or they'd, like, literally, Habbo a couple times just shut off their servers for a few hours so we'd get bored and stop. Man, he would pick up the phone every time and yell with you, like back and forth, and like just take it. And it made it so much more entertaining. He didn't understand that he was feeding us by all the insults he was throwing at us.
Right.
It's so much fun.
That does sound like fun, actually.
Right?
Do you believe our government is out to make Anonymous look like terrorists?
I mean, there's a lot of times, like I always say this with Anonymous, that, there's really 3 ways an op goes. And there's only 3 ways an op goes. You want to do something, right? And you might try and false flag Anonymous. But, in reality, Anonymous really, even though it doesn't exist as any real group, it has a self-policing mechanism when you're bringing an op up. So you're going to follow the kind of standard, tried and true methodology. You're going to maybe make a video. You're going to maybe find a chat service where people can come find you. You might even make a press release and put it up on Facebook. Whatever. There's a very standard kind of way to say, I'm Anonymous and I'm going to do this. And when you do it, one of 3 things happens. 1, you get completely ignored. You're an idiot. Your idea is dumb, and no one shows up to help you. And you realize very quickly that no one gives a shit about whatever you're talking about. Maybe you keep going. Maybe you release another video hoping to convince, but you're done. Number 2, people show up and say, this is a great idea, and you teach them about what your problem is, and you start working on it. There's an op. Great. Number 3, the idea that you actually put out is so dangerous to anyone who would possibly take part in it that you're obviously a moron or a false flag or something in between, and you are now the target, and Anonymous is going to try and expose you, dox you, and fuck with you. It's very self-policing in that way. One of those 3 things is going to happen. There's not much middle ground there. So it kind of stops a lot of the false flag or really just idiots who might get a lot of Anons arrested from ever actually succeeding.
Yeah, as I said, I feel like if you're going to, try and fuck with Anonymous, you better know what you're doing, because otherwise you're going to have a bad time.
I'm just trying to figure out why.
I just love how Colbert put it about, putting your penis in the hornet's nest.
Right.
Yeah, not a good idea.
Greg, House of Cards producer Bo Willman contacted you about giving tips to Jimmy Simpson on how to act like an actor, right?
A hacker, not an actor.
How to act. Wow. How to act like a hacker. That is hard to say, right? My question is, how does a hacker impact an actor to act like a hacker actor?
He originally asked me about actually helping to come up with the character. And then we hired Jimmy because, if we do our hair just right and wear the same clothes, we have a very similar look, like the big round head and everything.
That's
Nice.
great.
And so we hired Jimmy because he looked, similar. And not because of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which I do love him on. It was interesting because he wanted to tell some of my life story. So about half of what happens to that character actually happened to me. Like really dumb shit. But, the room, when they wanted to build out like his desk and whatnot, I just said, I'm not going to describe this to you. I just took pictures of like my multi-monitor setup and, and my stuff. Like even when you're watching it, up on the wall is this big kind of collage thing next to his computer desk. That's literally on my wall at my house. They just found the same
awesome.
artist and got a copy of it to put it up.
Oh, nice.
That's very cool.
But what was really fun about it was when we started writing it, he would come up with a kind of an arc. He wanted the character to get from here to here and interact with these people. And then he'd write some basic ideas of what their dialogue might be, knowing that all the tech stuff, hacker stuff, he was going to get wrong. But he would just kind of put some filler there and then say, okay, now work on this with me. And, that's what kind of the showrunner / head writer does. He gives you that basic structure, then you've got to fit inside of it.
That's cool.
And so we would actually sit in his trailer, and me and Bo, and like work through some of this even while we were down there. After we had already pre-written most of it, we were then working on set on it. What was the most fun, though, was in the mornings, me and Jimmy shared the same hotel, and we would go in a van together, and we'd sit there and go over the lines, and he would ask me these questions like, do you stress the white or the hat? And I was like, no, white hat. Just say white hat. There's no stressing. And like, do you pause in between? And like, we would have to go over his lines until he had every line memorized, and he wasn't stressing the wrong words or using the wrong words. And we had like a 40-minute ride in because they have this giant warehouse in the middle of nowhere outside of Baltimore. And they kept us in a nice hotel because, why not waste the budget on that?
No, but it's cool that he
but the most
cared
fun,
enough.
was working with Jimmy just every morning, making sure that he understood the intonations he was supposed to be using, what the speak really meant, at least from a rudimentary standpoint.
So you've been quoted in an interview saying what's right and what's wrong is not exactly in line with what's legal and what's illegal. So it's really up to each individual to decide how far they're willing to go with their protest. My last question, guys, unless you guys have anything, what's next for Anonymous?
Well, for Anonymous themselves, kind of the people who identified, what's weird is I get these questions, not this exact one, but I get these ones out of the press every now and then where they're saying, so Anonymous hasn't done anything big for a while. Is Anonymous dead? And what's great is every time they ask me that question, it's like within 3 months of something gigantic happening. Like I got asked it literally 3 months before HB Gary happened. I got asked it like a month before, payback happened. Like just all those, and so they started asking me that about 2 months ago. Like, is Anonymous dead? It's all these conspiracy nuts now, and I'm like, okay, thanks for asking that. That means the world to me. So who knows what they do next? But I'll tell you something that I'm working on now is I'm working on a nonprofit that we incorporated a week ago, and we filed our 1023, which is the paperwork you've got to file to get a 501c3 on Wednesday. So literally, like over the last 2 weeks, the paperwork's been filed.
Oh, awesome.
We have va.org. Pretty good domain, I got to tell you. I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah.
Did you say V as in like the Veterans VA?
Yeah. And we're starting a veterans support nonprofit that's going to use tech to support them and kind of bring them into the political fold a little. With we're calling it Veterans Anonymous. And
That's
so
awesome. That's awesome.
Hey,
VA, right?
Yeah.
that's awesome.
And so we're actually building it out now. I think we launched the website this week sometime. I was hoping today, but it turns out, as a nonprofit who takes donations to build tech projects, your donate button has to work before you launch the site. And going at such a pace, the merchant processor isn't in place yet. We're waiting for them to turn us on so we can turn the website on.
Is it PayPal or MasterCard or somebody you hacked?
No. This is the donor system that is kind of shielding us from them.
I see.
And what's great is it's got like 170 processors behind them.
Got it.
And they're actually built to cycle through them when one's cut you off.
Oh, wow.
So
Damn.
we should be good for a while.
I was like, couldn't you just log into their system and turn yourself on?
I didn't like prison. I'm gonna.
Fair point.
I mean, they won on that one like it wasn't fun.
Well, Greg, you got to.
So we're starting this nonprofit. It's gonna be really good. I think we're gonna do a bunch of tech projects to try and solve some of their problems.
That's awesome.
A lot of Anons don't support war. They aren't hawks, and I agree with that. I don't support war for no reason. I don't support any of that, but I do support our veterans.
Right.
They deserve
Absolutely.
Different things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think we can come at it from that angle and do a lot of really cool stuff. I mean, just as a simple, unbelievably stupid, low-level thing we can do is veterans-owned businesses as a database online where people can choose to shop with vets if they're vets, right? Well, it exists, veteransownedbusinesses.com. And you go there, and he charges vets $99 a month to have a listing there. That's not helping vets.
No, that's fucked.
Exploiting vets.
Yeah.
So we're going to rebuild it better, make it look like it's not $19.99 like his site, and make it completely free for them.
Greg, you absolutely have a donation from the Weekend Superheroes, man. This is awesome. Let's get that button working.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And send us a link. Absolutely, that's a really cool thing. Greg, I can't thank you enough for coming and hanging. Do you have 5 more minutes? We play a game at the end of one called Fact or Fuck. Are you in?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll start with you, Pat.
Yes.
The fictional artificial intelligence character Max Headroom was voiced and portrayed by Matt Frewer.
I'll go with fucked.
Fucked. Greg.
Fact.
That is a fact. Well done.
Damn it.
That guy is, I don't know who that is.
I fucking love Max Headroom.
Steve, starting with you.
Oh, boy.
The Fappening, or Celebgate, in which private photos of celebrities were hacked from the cloud and was orchestrated by a 71-year-old woman who goes by the name of Grand Anonymous.
I know that happened, but I don't know who the person was, so I'm going to say fucked.
Fucked. Greg?
Fucked.
That is fucked. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Good.
Only Sean can come up with a name like Granonymous.
I thought it was fantastic. I laughed so hard. Pat, in November of 2011, the official 4chan Twitter account announced that the site had been taken down by a distributed denial of service attack.
I don't even know if 4chan has an official Twitter channel, so I'm going to say fucked.
Greg?
I'm going to say fucked as well.
That is absolute fact. It was
Damn.
literally
I didn't know
everywhere.
they announced it. I mean, they've been taken down like 100 times by DDoS.
Yeah, I guess
When did they start
this was
announcing it?
this was the very first time they announced it. I actually have the Twitter
okay.
tweet right here. Yeah. Okay. Steve.
Well, I also hope Moot gets hit by a bus, so I mean, you know.
Steve.
Hey.
The term phishing replaces the F with a PH as a nod to the original form of the hacking known as phone phreaking. PHREAKING.
I'll say fact.
Fact. Greg?
Fact.
That is a fact. Well done.
I'm 2-0 today.
2-0 for Steve.
Killing it.
I'm 0 for 2.
Last one, we'll let you go. Darius. On an episode of the Golden Globe winning series, Mr.
I
Robot,
thought you were going to say Golden Girls.
the infamous hacktivist Gregg Housh had
Yarder.
appeared in a cameo as customer number 1. Fact or fucked?
Fucked.
Fucked. Greg.
I mean, it's fact, but it was fucked.
I wish I had gotten that when I saw your episode. You were great.
Watch this season.
Big thank you to Gregg Housh for coming out and being so cool and honest with us. Please check him out on his podcast, The Gregg Housh Show. Go to va.org and donate to his cause. This is
awesome.
Good
This is
shit.
a man
It's
who
a
met the
good
legend.
cause.
And it's for a great cause. Go down there and click that hopefully working donate button, and we can certainly move forward. If you want to find out more about us, you can find us at weekendsuperheroes.com, iTunes, Google Play, YouTube, Spreaker, Stitcher, and now iHeartRadio. Greg, please say goodbye to everyone who loves you out there.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
Darius, say goodbye.
Goodbye, ladies.
Steve.
Hey, I'll see ya.
End of file.
And always remember to podcast responsibly.